Good morning then. Thank you all for coming on this very auspicious occasion today. So it's a great pleasure really, because usually on a Thursday we have a local history coffee morning. So when we were trying to plot what to do for April, we heard that this event may be on, so we wanted to make this our special event. And as you can see, I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder and tell you what's going to happen. But what I'm going to do is just invite Councillor Haque, the Mayor of Sandwell, to come and say a few words. So can we give a big round of applause?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am very pleased to everybody early morning turn it up for something for the Tipton, very wanted, interested thing. Everybody now the Tipton is self-independent authority, independent council. When in 1974, people decided we can come to the bigger, more stronger than 6 towns join together, form the Sandwell Council, more better, stronger authority. Because it's better way can looking after these people, community, save to the community. Since form the Sandwell Council as a much better way, try to the saving to the local community. Lot of things been happen in long time since I've been councillor a long time ago now, and then lot of things I hear, lot of things people tell me. Recently, I heard these about for the Tipton, old Tipton Mayoral chain. When these Sandwell been formed, all 6 towns, all asset, everything go to the Sandwell. Then Sandwell Mayoral, Tipton Mayoral chain, which is Sandwell, as they are caring, looking after Sandwell authorities. Unfortunate, it is been happened 1981 in September, sometime in September. I think he is the historian of the Tipton, he is now better than me, and been stolen. So, Tipton lost. One Tipton chain and another one I think is a Wednesbury chain been stolen. It is a very sad thing. Now then, after a long time wait, and then that chain can't be found, but we found these exact photocopies, and then make these a copy of this chain. Not fake gold, real gold, solid gold. Original one is gold, and this one is gold as well. And then today's you will see these exactly same Tipton Mayoral chain, and that is it. It is my term is nearly very end now, close to end. I am very pleased to, in my time before I left the office, and doing real thing for the community in Tipton. Most of the others think, others community problem solved now, like is housing, education, all is school. You know, all the Tipton school is very nice, very modern school, except one school is St. Martin. Well, that one is up to the diocese and the trustee of the school now for the academic. That's the different story. Because I got the chain, the mayoral chain, I can't touch the politics. I can't talk about for the politics. This is why we invited you today and see the Tipton, original Tipton Mayoral chain, and then still go back to the council houses. They will be keep it as a trustee, as a holder. Now then, I'm passing to the Keith Hodgkins, and he can say something.
Well, Mr Mayor, Madam Mayoress, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to Tipton Library on this very important day in the history of Tipton, because we've got our Tipton Mayor's chain back thanks to the hard work of Councillor Haque and Sandwell Council, and it's a really positive thing for Sandwell Council and for Tipton today that they've managed to achieve this. Well, the Mayor's asked me just to say a few words, and I thought I'd just like to give a bit of a historical perspective on Tipton's position in the Black Country and Tipton's achievement with gaining borough status in 1938. If we look at the start of the 20th century, the large towns of the Black Country had already achieved county borough status. That is, Smethwick, Wolverhampton, Walsall, Dudley and West Bromwich, the bigger towns, had achieved county borough status. And also Wednesbury, little Wednesbury, achieved borough status as long ago as 1888. But all the other towns were just urban districts. And throughout the 20th century, all these urban districts, of which Tipton was one, were really trying to achieve borough status, really as a matter of pride and a matter of recognition, and also to gain more authority in terms of the services they could provide, because as municipal boroughs they had more powers. And during the course of the 20th century, in fact in the 1930s, several towns did achieve borough status. Bilston, Raleigh Regis, Albury, Halesowen, and finally Tipton. Tipton was actually the last one in 1938. The 1st of October 1938 actually is the date when Tipton achieved borough status, and of course it was a tremendous day for the town, great pride in achieving this newly found status. And part of the aspect of achieving borough status is civic regalia, and all this wonderful regalia was made. It was all paid for from donations by local firms, and in fact in the council house, or in the big house in Albury where all the civic regalia is kept, there is a roll of honour of all the firms of Tipton that contributed to pay for the mace and the chains, and they're all famous names which we're so familiar with, like Palethorpe's and Hale and Hale and the Mongas and Brymill, and all these famous names which have all, Vono, Revo, which you'll all be so familiar with, which have all sadly disappeared. So we owe it to them that we had the original regalia. But sadly, as you know, there was a break-in at West Bromwich Town Hall in 1981 where quite a lot of the regalia was stolen, including the Tipton Mayor's chain and the Wednesbury Mayor's chain. And I think the Wednesbury mace, fortunately they didn't get our mace, we've still got the original mace. But that was a terrible loss. And it's a great credit now to Sandwell that they've actually been able to make a replica Tipton Mayor's chain. So we've got our set of regalia back again. And the other great thing as well that's happened over the past few years with Sandwell, I know a lot of people were happy when Sandwell was created because it seemed to be taking away our individual identity. But actually Sandwell has done some good work in recent years, because as it's come to maturity as a local authority, it's accepted the fact that it is a collection of 6 towns, and each of the 6 towns have their own separate identity. And this has been evolving nicely over the years, and I think this is a great credit to the councillors. They've realised that local identity is important. You can't simply paint everybody with the same metaphorical brush, as it were, which I think Sandwell tried to do right at the start in 1974 when they were created. They tried to make everybody the same, everybody will be Sandwell, but they've realised now that of course it's a question of giving each of the 6 towns their identity. And this is an aspect of that, by giving us, replacing the civic regalia, the Mayor's chain that was lost. And the other great thing is that Sandwell has done, they've created this civic house in Albury, the big house, a very historic building in Albury, which the council purchased in I think in the late 1990s, and it was opened in 2002 as the Mayor's Parlour. and the showcase for all the civic regalia from all the 6 towns, which is where the our mason chain will usually reside in very secure conditions, obviously. And I think this is another great credit to Sandwell, which perhaps gets overlooked. It was a tremendous achievement to do that, and I think they do take a great pride in the old civic regalia now. And the Civic Society did do a visit there about 5 years ago to look at it in great detail. And I think the visits are still available, aren't they? People can book visits to the big house to look at the civic regalia. So really, I'm going to finish on that very positive note. That Sandwell has done a lot of good work here in preserving the heritage of the 6 towns, and in particular the civic regalia. And I think we've got to be very grateful that they've actually made the replacement chain for the one that was stolen. It's taken quite a long time to do it, but we've got there in the end, and it's and so I'd like to say a big thank you. The other thing we must mention, of course, is we've got Barry Whitehouse here today, and his sister Joy, and because everybody in Tipton knows that Barry's father, Jonah Whitehouse, was the last mayor of Tipton in 1966, and Joy, Barry's sister, was the last mayoress. So that's fantastic to have you both here today as well, to complete the whole picture.
The Joy's daughter as well.
Yes, and Joy's daughter as well. So finally, can I say a big thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for all your work you've done in bringing about making this possible, and congratulations to Sandwell for doing this. So I think a big round of applause for Mr. Mayor of Sandwell.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Mayor? There's such a thing as a mayoral chair, which is at Dudley, and they won't let me have it back. Is there any chance you can get on the bandwagon and get that chair back in Tipton for us?
He has been. We've been discussing that actually only this morning.
We
haven't discussed it over the last few weeks.
Another thing. Only one job is left unfinished, but still I not give it hand up, and then Keith and others still working on behind on me, and that mayoral chair. And mayoral chairs, I try to, and then I got the nice letter from the Dudley Council for the people of the Tipton. But there is a few points still I needed to can touching, and then it is they're writing about for the mayoral chair, and then I'm hoping before my life is finished, if that chair is coming back in Tipton, I will try, and then I will be the heavy person in the whole of my life. Thank you very much. Now then, and the last mayoress of the Tipton, Joyce, and the last mayor is Mr. Whitehouse, his daughter. I am especially thanking you to Joyce, and you kindly turn it up this morning with your daughter. And now your father using the last time is chain is disappear. Now then you can see your own eyes, chain is here, come back now. And then you will be you can talk to your daughter why she's come here. She can see this chain wearing she's grandfather. And that's why we are everybody's get together. Thank you very much. Say that you can say a few words. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the story of the Tipton Mayor's chair is well known. We've been campaigning for the last 15 years at least to get it back. We almost thought we'd got it a couple of years ago when we'd actually got the approval of the Chief Executive of Dudley and the then Mayor of Dudley to have it. But the stumbling block was that the son of Councillor Jack Wilson objected to it coming back. 'Cause, do you all know the story? when the chair was acquired by Dudley Council, because Dudley took over our old municipal buildings, and so and the chair was left behind. So the Dudley Council just had it, and at some point they presented it to Jack Wilson, who was a very long-serving council member, both for Coseley and for Dudley councils, and it's got a little plaque on it, dedicated to Councillor Jack Wilson. Now, Councillor Wilson passed away about 5 years ago, so we thought now that there's the chance to get the chair back. And as I say, we had the agreement of Dudley's chief executive and mayor at the time, but then Councillor Wilson's son found out about it and he objected to it being moved from Dudley. So that's the stumbling block we're against, and we can't really see any way out of this at the moment. And I know Mr Mayor at the moment recently has written to Dudley Council, but sadly had a negative reaction because of that. So really it's a complete stalemate on that. But I have suggested another thing this morning to the Mayor, one other item of precious Tipton history, which should be here in the Community Museum, is the Tipton Roll of Mayors. Now that was hanging in the old Tipton Library, the Carnegie Centre, until fairly recently. But when the Carnegie Centre was vacated, when the occupational health moved out and the building was left empty for a period, all the paintings and the mayoral board were put into safe storage in Wednesbury Art Gallery, which they still are. Now I don't see any reason why the Roll of Mayors, and there's a picture of it on our little exhibition over there, I don't see why that shouldn't come back to Tipton and sit as a centrepiece of the little community museum here. So I've suggested that to the Mayor this morning, and I think he's already put the wheels in motion to look at that. So maybe, and particularly as we've got Councillor Saida Khatoon as well, who's now Deputy Leader of Sandwell, I'm sure perhaps that some wheels can be set in motion to get the mayoral board back. So thanks in advance for all that you can do with that.
But I'd just like to say thank you everyone for coming, and the children from St Paul's as well. And it's great to see so many people here. So I'm just going to say now, please come and share the refreshments. Come and have a look at the displays as well. Have a look at the chain. But tea and coffee are now served in there. Have you enjoyed it? Have you enjoyed it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. I will do.
Yeah, but I've got them in there.
Can you meet out tomorrow afternoon, anyone?
You're coming to the afternoon.
It's a shame now the schools have come, isn't it? It's a shame now
Okay. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.